Today, the United States enters a recession, but the Biden administration continues to deny this reality. Abortion doulas in Iowa. What is that? I can't wait to share it with you. And more evidence that Joe Biden did, in fact, speak to his son about overseas business dealings. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez. Today joined by BlazeTV contributor Jakob Williams, also host of The Bottom Line, and he is sporting new glasses, new frames, and they look very lovely on him. So
thank you, Sarah,
you're welcome
for noticing.
Yes, you're welcome. I noticed
Nobody in
all
my
the
office
things.
noticed.
I'm a mom. I notice
No, but
everything.
you're so attentive.
I notice everything. Also joined by Pat Gray, host of Pat Gray Unleashed, which you can find on BlazeTV, also wherever you get your podcasts. And I suggest that you subscribe to that as well. Gentlemen, are you really, really excited? We're in a recession. Are you guys?
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah,
Yay!
well, I mean,
Joe Biden's breaking all the records
we've
the
known
wrong
it.
way.
Yeah.
And
Well, yes.
you know they knew it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They've
Which
been
is why
preparing
they
the
tried to.
For a week,
They
they've been
caused
preparing.
it.
Yeah,
Pat. Yeah, they knew it. They
Yeah.
manufactured it.
Yep.
Well, which is why they tried to redefine what recession actually was right before the results came out, because they knew they were just bracing themselves. So they, of course, are of the opinion. Don't believe your lion eyes. Don't believe your ears. Don't believe what you're seeing every time you pay your bills. Just believe us, okay? Because they're claiming economic success despite the second straight quarter of contracted economic growth in the United States. Earlier today, the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, again, this was expected, was supposed to drop today, and it did, and it didn't. There were no surprises here. The first estimate of the nation's gross domestic product was worse than the predicted expansion of 0.5%. The economy shrank by a 0.9 annualized rate, and economists widely define a recession as, of course, two consecutive quarters of negative growth. So despite all that, Joe Biden, trucking along, claimed in the statement that the contraction was unsurprising and that the economy is headed in the right direction. He said, coming off of last year's historic economic growth, did you guys feel all of the history being made last year with the economic growth?
Wow.
Did you feel it?
Yeah,
No.
we're
It was like palpitating.
everybody's
I felt
living.
it.
Everybody's living in opulence.
Yeah. Luxury, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said, and regaining all the private sector jobs lost during the pandemic crisis. It's no surprise that the economy is slowing down as the Federal Reserve acts to bring down inflation. But even as we face historic global challenges, we are on the right path and will come through this transition stronger and more secure. Transition. That's an interesting way to put it. So now he is actually touting an Inflation Reduction Act, because what you really want to do when you are in a period of a recession is just spend more money, have the government spend more and more of your money that you don't actually have and can't back up. I hear that's really good for the economy, especially when you're in a recession. So this Inflation Reduction Act, it aims to lower health insurance costs for families covered under the Affordable Care Act, provide tax credits and investments for energy projects to tackle, of course, the climate crisis. I can't wait for that. Here's Joe Biden talking about it today. Watch.
The Inflation Reduction Act will add another $370 billion in clean energy tax credits in reconciliation, including incentives to accelerate domestic production of solar panels, wind turbines, batteries, and critical materials processing. That doesn't sound like a recession to me. Thank you very much.
Doesn't sound like a recession
No,
to
we
you.
just print.
What?
Listen. We pull out the Monopoly board. We open the box, and we print money. We print our way out of a recession, Pat.
Yeah,
because we
right.
say so. Number one, none of your green energy tools work. I was just at an energy summit. They're sucking their thumbs because solar and wind will not cut it. They're talking about micro nuclear power plants. It will not cut it. Look, if they can redefine a man and a woman, Sarah, then what is redefining a recession?
It's true.
on.
Words mean nothing to
They've
this
accomplished
administration.
far greater things than renaming a recession.
That is true.
I mean, come on.
That is true.
And over half of the money that they're allocating here is going to the dumb climate change nonsense. It's
You don't think
an
that's going to help
abomination.
your grocery bill?
I don't
No?
think it's going to.
Oh.
No, surprisingly, It's going to hurt my grocery bill.
Oh.
I'll bet. Yeah, it'll contribute to more inflation. And so we'll relish these days of 9.1% inflation. We're going to long for those days when it's 20 or 25%.
Wait, so usually higher numbers are good. Are you saying higher numbers are not
In
good
this
with
case,
inflation?
not necessarily good, right?
Okay. Maybe the Biden administration is confused on that.
They
Maybe
might
if
be.
we just explain to them,
might
we're
be.
not going for the higher number when it comes to inflation.
This is
we
more
want
like
the lower.
golf than bowling. Okay?
Right.
Yeah, right? Well, do you know that California just approved 49 cents a kilowatt hour? Listen to what I'm saying. For your consumption at your house, paying 49 cents a kilowatt hour. You crush an economy with that. We're debating and arguing here over 9 versus 11 cents, and we want to restructure our energy plan. 49 cents a kilowatt hour. Good luck, surviving that. It's not going to happen. No, but look, they've gone off the insanity cliff to a degree. But in that statement you read, I think he says in that statement that our economy is going to slow down because they're attempting to slow down inflation. No, that's the opposite, Joe. Inflation slows down the economy, and when you actually bring inflation down and you open it up and we become energy independent, the economy will actually grow. Look, I don't know at this point that Joe Biden or those who write his speeches or Ms. Rice and Mr. Obama who runs the White House, if any of them have any clue on just baseline economics and how it works.
They don't.
So this particular package is basically the compromise for Joe Manchin, who was wasn't he the only holdout for the Build Back Better plan? This one is obviously, it's not exactly Build Back Better, but it's kind of their restructuring of the Build Back Better plan to satisfy Joe Manchin. And it is much more expansive than the reconciliation package that Joe Manchin just signed on to a few weeks ago. Because you know what? I always said this on this show, when you have Joe Manchin, who is the only person who is in charge of deciding whether or not our entire civilization crumbles or stays afloat, that's not a position you want to be in. No. Because you can't trust that Joe Manchin is going to hold out forever. And of course, he's not. I want to play for you Karine Jean-Pierre, of course, the most amazing White House press secretary we have ever seen due to affirmative action, as we know, which produces only the best and the brightest, the most intelligent White House press secretaries. Yesterday, Peter Doocy grilled Karine Jean-Pierre on why the White House is, as we mentioned before, trying to redefine the word recession and how you calculate that and how the media is supposed to determine whether or not we are in a recession. Here is that exchange.
If things are going so great, though, then why is it the White House officials are trying to redefine recession?
No, we're not redefining recession.
If we all understand a recession to be 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth in a row, and then you have White House officials come up here to say, no, that's not what a recession is. It's something else. How is that not redefining recession?
Because that's not the definition. That is not the definition.
Brian Deese said in 2008, of course, economists have a technical definition, which is of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth.
Whoops.
I can tell you this.
Yesterday he said 2 negative quarters of GDP growth is not the technical definition of a recession.
It is
What
not.
changed?
It is not.
Why did he say that
it
was?
is not. I can
What's the
I can
difference other
speak
than who the
to
president is?
I can speak to what he said yesterday in
I
front
bet
of
you
all
can.
of you, which is the last thing that you just repeated.
I bet you can.
There are many factors. There are many factors, economic factors and indicators to consider.
By the way, Brian Deese, who he mentioned as backtracking on his own words, is a former Obama advisor and now a current Biden advisor. So this was Obama's own guy saying back at the moment, obviously a recession is when you have 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Now, all of a sudden, as Jaco, you mentioned, words mean nothing anymore. We can just redefine them, add on to them as necessary, change them, swap them out with something else. Nothing matters.
You know what I would, in these situations, Pat, I'm such a practical guy and words matter to me big time. So this is a situation where I just want to go on speed dial real quick in the press secretary's presence and call the top 20 CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies and say, hey, to your stakeholders, quickly just tell them, do you agree? 2 quarters negative growth, yes or no? Is it a recession? Every one of them will go, oh yeah, because they'll lose their heads if they don't immediately classify, yeah, we're in trouble here, the shareholders, but they never get held accountable.
No.
They never get told to get into the octagon and close the cage and, okay, all right, prove your point now. No, they just flower language. You know, St. Pierre, the poster child for affirmative action in North America, just wants to say there are many factors. What are they? They're just many. How many genders are there? There's many. 12, 1,200? No, there's just many. Just trust us, right? There's so many factors you just
And
can't
what are
understand.
they? What are those factors?
They can't define it
They can't.
because the definition is in front of them. It's 2 quarters negative growth. Everybody on Wall Street will tell you this. Every economist will tell you this.
Yeah. Well, whenever Karine Jean-Pierre was attempting to redefine it, and I believe that she threw in the job numbers, and they keep trying to tout these job numbers in comparison to their predecessor at a time when everyone was telling
Shut down.
people they couldn't go to work.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like you don't get to tout those numbers as if it's an increase, generally speaking. Sure, if you're looking at compared to when we were shut down, of course there's going to be an improvement, but that doesn't mean that it's good.
And yet they keep doing it.
Yes.
They just keep doing it. I mean, these people are amazing. They'll look directly at you and say, I am not here. You are not sitting there.
You're deceived. You're not seeing what you're seeing.
It's like, okay, I'm looking right at you. No, I am not here.
I'm a figment of your imagination.
It's bizarre.
insanity.
I've never seen
They're
anything
insane.
like this.
They are insane.
I thought Obama was a liar.
No, I mean, he's...
This guy is far worse. They said Trump was a liar. I think the Washington Post logged 35,000 lies or something that he supposedly told during his 4 years. This guy tells 35,000 in a week. It's unbelievable how they lie. And
it's not a lie, Pat. They're redefining.
Yeah, well,
It's no longer a lie. As of 3
That's what
minutes
they
ago,
say.
it's no longer a lie. They just
Yep.
changed the definition.
Do you think that he realizes that he's lying, or is he just so incompetent and incapacitated he's just repeating what his staffers tell him to do?
that's a really good question.
Yeah. I wonder if he goes in and out of understanding and not understanding.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Did you
think
see
so.
that video of him? The comparison of him at different times of the day?
Big difference.
Benny Johnson did a piece on that on social. I kind of lean where Pat is. I think there's a moment where there is cognitive awareness, and then there's moments where
it's just gone.
Yeah.
it's just a wind tunnel.
That's what it
And
seems like,
yeah.
for sure. All right, we have got more to come, specifically some underground training for abortion doulas that you are, just trust me when I tell you, you're not going to want to miss this. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Nusu Labs. So losing weight is really hard. Just generally speaking, maybe you can't control your cravings. Maybe you have reached the age where your metabolism has slowed down and you're like, I'm doing everything and I can't lose the weight. You got to try the new weight control formula from Nusu Labs. It uses biohacking technology to curb your appetite and control those unwanted cravings. They've got natural ingredients, antioxidants, and the formula maximizes a healthy metabolism and keeps you away from all of those empty calories safely and without all of the harmful side effects of all of these crazy diets and supplements. It also has the mood-enhancing ingredient in dark chocolate to keep you from getting, well, what we like to call hangry, which is what we call my toddler all the time now because,
That's me.
let me tell you, okay, my toddler and Yaku, they get hangry, all right? They're going to guarantee,
Absolutely.
Nusu's going to guarantee that you lose up to 3 pounds your first week, guaranteed, or your money back. Right now, you can get a free bottle with your order at nusulabs.com/Y. I use this stuff. I love it. It is working for me. Let it work for you. It is nusulabs.com/Y. Join Nusu's world-class concierge program for an extra 10% off at checkout. Free month supply, free priority shipping. That is nusulabs.com/Y. Steve Deace, of course, of the Steve Deace Show here at BlazeTV. His daughter, Anastasia, did some undercover work and attended an abortion doula training in Iowa. I'm sure you're like, abortion doula, what is that? That seems kind of counterintuitive. So this apparently taught women how to help facilitate illegal abortions. She recorded the entire thing and shared it on her podcast, Let's Ask. Here is a small part of what she found.
This may seem very graphic to you, but what you are seeing on your screen, or if you are listening at home, is a slideshow of DIY do-it-yourself abortions. Yes, you heard me correctly. And what the cost of those and the step-by-step process is, something I did not include in this slideshow because I find it too graphic simply, is manually vacuuming your baby out.
I just, it's very, very few times that I'm rendered speechless. And somehow with this story, I am. Joining us now to discuss this is, of course, Anastasia Gaetz, host of Let's Ask podcast. Anastasia, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Let me just tell you, your dad is a friend of mine, and I love seeing people who have children who have these same passions to go in and find this stuff out. So I love that you are doing this. Where did you find this? Where did you find out that this was happening? And what made you go, you know what, I want to show up. I want to attend this virtually.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter can be a beautiful place sometimes where, God just drops small little nuggets for us to infiltrate certain things. And so I found out about it on Twitter through our Iowa Jane Collective, which is basically the organization that held this. And then they asked one question to register, which was, why do you want to do this training? And my answer was because I want to help women. And they don't really go farther into that. They don't really ask why, what the specific definition of that means. So I just kind of slid myself in. I used my fiance's last name, and they sent me the link the next day.
Wow. So what was I know that you said that you didn't want to show the most graphic parts of this training, but what was the most shocking thing to you undergoing all of this? I know we saw the slide there where they showed homeopathy. It mentions manual aspiration, but what was really, you were left going like, holy crap, I can't believe that this just happened.
Yeah, I what they define as MVA, which is manual vacuuming aspiration, which is basically manually vacuuming your baby out at home. And they warn ladies or birth givers, they warn that nowadays what's going to happen is you will hear two sounds. You will hear the slow sound of what sounds like a lawnmower, and you will hear the sound of body parts being sucked out at home. And inform abortion doulas to make sure to bring headphones for both you and the mother so that essentially you don't hear what is happening. So that part to me was shocking because you don't hear that in everyday conversation, and so it was hard to listen to it being so casually represented as, hearing a lawnmower sound and hearing baby parts being sucked out is normal.
Go ahead.
Yeah, can I jump in?
Please,
Thank you so much. And we love your dad. He's a champ. And for those who don't know Steve Gaetz, you need to look into Steve. Him and Pat are champions. But question for you, do they talk about the device used to vacuum? Because I studied medicine, and one of the most dangerous things in an abortion is body parts left or particles are left behind in the woman, and only a woman can bear a child, let's just be clear, because it becomes septic and women die. So here's what's going to happen. Girls are going to die. They're going to bleed out. Body parts will be left in their bodies. They'll become septic. You're going to see teenagers try to perform self-abortions. Now, these people should be held culpable. They should be accountable for this because they basically encouraging people to commit murder in a back alley. And so did they talk about the device needed to have the strength, the medical strength to perform an abortion?
I mean, none of them really go into any of the medical background that is really needed for this. They've mentioned a lot of times during the training, you don't have to be certified to be an abortion. You don't have to be certified to perform things like this at home, is something that they talk about a lot. And so they'll talk about different vacuums that you can get on Amazon for like $50. And they do discuss kind of what they call a mistake is if you don't get all of the baby body parts out right away, that you may have to go back and do it again. And they warn, of course, mothers that there may be sites of blood, amniotic fluid, stuff like that. But, when it comes to them, you don't have to be certified in their eyes to do any of this. And anybody can pick up a vacuum and bring it to your home and do it. And so, a lot of them don't talk about the consequences that could happen, that really could happen.
Did they ever mention that they could die because death is an option? Look, most people can't even remove a splinter out of their finger, for crying out loud, right? We're talking about,
Of death. And I had someone reach out to me on my dad's Instagram basically saying the same thing after I had done it, which was, women die from this. I've seen people bleed out all the time. Yeah. There's no mention of that. Just, there might be some blood, or make sure you bring, a blindfold, some headphones. Yeah.
So on that note, it's difficult. I'm sure you can relate to this. It's very difficult to swallow that people who are trying to represent women's empowerment and protecting women's bodies are doing something so irresponsible and potentially so deadly to women while saying that they're championing protecting women's bodies and women's health. Do you get the sense that whoever was leading this, the Iowa Janes Collective, the people who were leading this seminar, if you will, do you think that they understood the severity of what they were doing, or do you think that they were just blind sheep just reciting what they had been told? Because I have a hard time understanding how someone who claims to be so pro-woman can put women in a position to just bleed out in their own homes because they were given incorrect, false medical advice.
Yeah, I honestly think it comes from a point of especially people like that, are so numb to the discussion of abortion nowadays. And I remember growing up, and that was such a hard thing to talk about and something that was painful to talk about. And now women alike just talk about it like it's nothing. And I don't know if it's necessarily they don't know what they're talking about, more so that they've just become so numb to the idea that it's wrong that it just, to them, it doesn't bother them anymore. And it boggled my mind, because this girl was telling us how she's gone into people's homes and helped them perform abortions, but you never really, the catches, you never really hear what happens, and you never really hear the details behind it. So I think that's where they getting a lot of people involved in this, is because she never really ended up going into stories talking about well, here's what happened when I went over. It was just, I've been doing this for so long.
Do you know, Anastasia, if this is something that they are doing nationwide at all? Did they make any references to, Janes Collective is everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So I assume that these are happening all over the country. Do you know, did they indicate that at all?
Well, the Janes Collective started back in the 60s in Illinois. So I would not be surprised if something's kind of rumbling up there. It was from 60 to 73 when abortion became legal, but there were no mentions of other Jane collectives, other than the fact that the girl that was holding it does work for a young women's resource center here, which Planned Parenthood does a lot of work with. So that's
the least shocking thing ever. So last question, I guess it's kind of twofold. Was this your first experience kind of infiltrating and going underground to try to root something out? Was this your first time?
Yes.
And
yes,
so are you now going to do it again? Are you ready to keep it up?
Yeah, I'm already planning on doing some other stuff too. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your work. It's always nice to see young, bright individuals with, of course, very good parents who have led them in the right direction. And we appreciate it so much. Anastasia Gaetz of the Let's Ask podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, we've got to take a quick break, but first we want to thank our sponsor, My Patriot Supply. So American farmers are warning about fertilizer shortages. They're caused by supply chain breakdowns. That means, yay for you. Harvest will be a lot smaller. Food will be in short supply for the rest of the year. Even Joe Biden is warning about these food shortages. Okay, you can go to preparewithnewsmatters.com right now. You'll save $150 when you stock up on the 3 months of long-term emergency food from My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest preparedness company. They've got more than 55,000 4- and 5-star reviews. They offer ready-hour food kits. They're really, really good, and they're going to provide you over 2,000 calories a day, so you have that sustainable energy. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years. It's there whenever you need it. We have My Patriot Supply. We have our emergency preparedness kit. You guys, you don't have to be a prepper to understand you need emergency food supply, okay? Everyone needs this. Your order is going to ship fast and free in unmarked boxes for your privacy. Go to preparewithnewsmatters.com. That is preparewithnewsmatters.com. All right, remember in 2019 when Joe Biden, of course, said very explicitly, very clearly, I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. And we keep hearing more and more, just like little drippings of all of this information that's coming out. The president met with at least 14 of Hunter's business associates from the United States, Mexico, Ukraine, that's interesting. China, that's interesting. And Kazakhstan over the course of his vice presidency. This is according to a Fox News digital review. 2 of Hunter's Mexican business associates visited the West Wing on February 26, 2014, according to the Obama White House visitor logs. And Joe was later photographed with Hunter giving these 2 men a tour of the White House Brady press briefing room. There are a couple emails that we have here where Hunter is writing in an April 2014 email to David Lieneman, Biden's official photographer. He says, do you have pictures from the lunch I had in Dad's office with Miguel Alleman and Jeff Cooper? If so, let me know and I can send someone to pick them up. Thanks. How was Kyiv? So it's just...
Nothing to see here.
No, I mean, look, I've said this whole time, it's interesting now because I feel like if you ever got Joe Biden on the stand, let's say there was some sort of accountability for all of this, which I don't think that there will be, but let's say that there was, there's a 50-50 shot that I believe him if he says, like, I actually don't remember.
No, he's not going to remember.
I'm like, I kind of buy it. I don't think he probably remembers at all.
Yeah.
I of course say that tongue in cheek because I'm obviously he remembers some of it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so defensive when the topic comes up. You notice he gets very angry.
Yes, he does. The most natural thing in the world. I have 3 sons who have businesses, and I've never asked them once about what they do or who they do it with or how it's going or who do you meet with or...
Unless you're involved.
Yeah,
right.
No, you just don't even talk to him about it. You don't even mention it. Okay, that's what Joe did. He didn't even talk to him.
Right.
He never
Ever.
mentioned it, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You're like, I don't even know what he was doing for a living. I never asked.
What father doesn't talk to his sons about their business? That's crazy. It's unless you hate his guts and you haven't talked to him in 30 years.
But he references the big guy, and it's like Bill Clinton.
Please.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. No, just 14 times, I promise. Dude, it's a circus show. I was there for the last 2 days. I literally walked the halls. It is a legitimate circus show. Seriously, it's an embarrassment. It's a disgrace. I stood outside Nancy Pelosi's office. I can't wait for that badge to be removed, for a new speaker to come in November. I pray and I hope for us to bring some sort of order back to this country because the people deserve it. It's an absolute cluster.
Well, we talked about this on the program a couple days ago, that apparently there were whistleblowers in the FBI who said that they were deliberately downplaying all of the Hunter Biden, all of what was going on with Hunter Biden. And earlier today, during a House Judiciary Committee hearing with the Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division of the Justice Department, that is quite a mouthful. His name is Matt Olson. Matt Gaetz, who is, of course, the GOAT right now, took the opportunity to ask about Hunter Biden and the FBI whistleblowers. I'm sure you guys are going to be shocked to hear he did not get many answers in return. Watch.
Is Hunter Biden a national security threat?
That's not a question that would come up before me, Congressman.
You're the head of the National Security Division, so it seems sort of on the nose.
It's not in my practice or experience to identify individuals
Not in my purview.
and to
We've heard
label
that before.
any individual, an American citizen, or any individual as a national security threat.
Well, you would certainly concede that if the adult offspring of the President of the United States or the Vice President were compromised, that would be a national security threat, right?
We speak through our filings in court, and we speak through our actions in open court.
The good news is you're not the only ones with that laptop. So Patrick Ho was convicted of bribing government officials in Africa, and he gave $1 million to Hunter Biden. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not going to speak about any ongoing investigation.
Is that an
I
ongoing?
can assure
Is
you
that an ongoing
Is it?
investigation?
I'm not going to.
Patrick
I'm not going to
Hilbribe?
speak about any potential ongoing
Like, don't you
investigation.
see that degrades the country's belief in you guys when you have whistleblowers saying that you're purposefully rat holing this information, and then you come here and say you won't talk about it?
Wow.
Nothing to see here, though, Pat.
Wow. I mean, we've lost complete confidence in our intelligence agencies, haven't we, by this point, especially the FBI? I mean, the FBI, I've got no confidence in them whatsoever now.
None.
And it's really sad because, you know, I respect law enforcement. I respect even the intelligence agencies. But under this administration and what they've become, I have no respect for them at all.
Yeah, they're just way too politicized, it seems. It's
Yeah.
not just the Hunter Biden stuff, as Matt Gaetz called it, rat holing all of the Hunter Biden issues. But one of the same agents, special agents in the FBI who is implicated in doing that is also implicated in pressuring agents to reclassify cases as domestic violent extremism, even if the cases do not meet the criteria for such a classification. So I guess I can say at least there are enough whistleblowers getting this information out. Maybe we should be heartened a little bit that not all of the good guys have already been weeded out and we're at least getting to hear any of this. Now, if there's accountability is a completely different story. But the fact that we're finding this out from whistleblowers is, am I wrong to be too heartened by that?
No, and that is a silver lining because you still have, like the country, we talk about America. What's America? America's people. It's not a flag and an entity, it's people. So when we talk about the FBI, it's people. The corruption at the top, and there are really good individuals way downstream that just wake up in the morning and put a uniform or a suit on and says, I want to serve this country. And that's where your whistleblowing is coming from and your leaks are coming from. But if you look at the time that it has taken, Pat, to get anything, when we know, we had Rudy Giuliani with the drives. We saw photographs early and then they disappeared. America's not stupid. There's been duck and cover. They've been covering this. They've been told to reclassify a situation. When you see a city burning, and there's no investigation, you go, where is the FBI? Then you know that it's corrupt. It doesn't take a lot to understand that they're not doing their job, that they're covering for one side of the ledger and not the other, that Lady Liberty and Justice is not blind at the moment, that they pick winners and losers. It doesn't even take a whistleblower to let America know that they're not doing their job. But I'm so thankful for these whistleblowers, and hopefully, normally when you get one, more come out, right? And you got to know there's so many.
Hope so.
Yeah.
So many, Sarah, that have seen stuff. We need to know it all.
Especially at a time when 750 people, most of whom didn't really do anything at the Capitol building, but are in jail, many of them for over a year now, like a year and a half.
Without being charged.
Without any trial or in some cases
Not
even
charged.
charges, and their constitutional rights being violated.
Yeah.
And then we've got Hunter Biden, who's the president's son, and all that's going on there with all of those shenanigans. Then you've got a sitting congressman in Eric Swalwell, who slept with a Chinese spy for 2 years, and nothing's ever been done about that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And we're focused on these 750 Americans who paraded at the Capitol building.
They what?
Some of them paraded.
They paraded?
I know.
Hold on. Next thing you're going to tell me they held American flags.
Some of them did.
Miniature American flags?
Yes.
Little
My
ones.
God.
Yes.
That
Little
is
ones,
evil.
It's so evil.
It really is sad.
They held an American fashion show.
We're laughing so we don't cry, okay? We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor. I love this sponsor so
Yes.
much, Moms for Liberty. If you don't have to be a mom to join this organization, by the way. If you are a parent who is concerned with all of the, the indoctrination going on in this country, especially in schools, you've got CRT, you've got the LGBTQ sexual indoctrination. Moms for Liberty is where you've got to go go join. In 18 months, they've grown to over 200 chapters in 37 states, probably because of all the COVID tyranny that came out. And all of these leftists who were trying to indoctrinate your children had a light shown on them. And parents were like, you know what? We're not going to do this. We're actually going to fight for the survival of America by unifying, educating, and empowering parents to defend their parental rights at all levels of government. So they're holding leaders accountable, or they're working to replace them with liberty-minded individuals and spreading an awareness and understanding of the limited role of government, and of course standing together against government overreach and intimidation tactics. It was started by two moms who were former school board members. They saw behind the education curtain and they said, this is wrong. We're not going to do it to our children. Guys, it is free to join as an associate member. All I'm asking you to do is join their movement over at momsforliberty.org/Sarah. That is Moms for Liberty. That is FOR, momsforliberty.org/Sarah. Earlier this week, the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation filed a complaint against Miami's Our House Bar, which apparently has been hosting drag queen shows to children. And because of Ron DeSantis' work out there, the bar has 21 days to respond to the complaint. And if it is found to be in violation of local laws, the bar could end up losing its liquor license, of course, putting it out of business, because what else does a bar do if not serve alcohol? The bar previously went viral earlier this month after a video posted by, of course, the one and only libs of TikTok shows a topless drag queen wearing a thong stuffed with money parading a little girl around the bar. Just some good family-friendly entertainment there over at, what is that, Our House Bar. Yesterday during a press conference, Ron DeSantis called out the widespread disturbing behavior our society has towards children, and he kind of, I don't know, shots fired a little bit over at Greg Abbott in the Texas legislature, I think. Watch.
So he's asking about an issue that there was a video. Well, first of all, there was a video out of Dallas where they had all these young kids putting money in the underwear of these drag queens at a bar, and that's totally unacceptable. And I said that at the time. Then what happened was a week or two later, there was video from a place that had similar stuff, and then that was identified as being in Florida. So we said, wait a minute. Having kids involved in this is wrong. That is not consistent with our law and policy in the state of Florida, and it is a disturbing trend in our society to try to sexualize these young people. That is not the way you look out for our children. You protect children. You do not expose them to things that are inappropriate.
I don't think I recall any sort of complaint being filed here in Texas. Interestingly enough, I felt like that was a little dig.
Seems like it, yeah.
At Texas, which rightfully so.
And rightfully so. Yeah. Why wasn't Greg Abbott as strong as Ron DeSantis here?
Why isn't Greg Abbott as strong as Ron DeSantis on anything?
It's a good question.
Evergreen, yeah.
It's a good question. And he should be. And this drag queen thing has got to stop. I don't even understand how this is okay with any person on this planet. And in fact, there have actually been some reasonable drag queens who have come out and spoken out really strongly against this, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do a great drag queen thing and you're, 20, fine, go ahead, do it. But don't bring little children into your act. Don't be inviting drag queens to read to children in libraries and schools. And what is that movement?
Yeah.
It is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And these drag queens that are speaking out are actually saying it is about sex.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think this is?
Right.
Of course it's about sex. And you're bringing children into it? It's absolutely wrong and illegal and immoral.
Yeah.
And needs to stop.
Yeah, okay.
How hard do you want me to go after Greg Abbott? Okay, I'll
All right,
say
can
this.
we just,
I'll say this.
please go vote in November because we can't have Beto O'Rourke.
Listen, we cannot have Beto, but Abbott, you can do better. I'll say this.
Way better.
Oh,
Let me, Pat and Sarah talked about
Please.
Greg Abbott. I will not. I will refrain,
You're welcome
Sarah.
to. You're
But I'm
welcome
going to
to.
talk about the parent that's willing to take their child
Oh, man.
to a drag queen show. If I was the governor of Texas, I would criminalize that parent
Yes.
because it's a criminal offense.
Yes.
Well, CPS would be
Yes.
Where it's,
Yes.
they'd be
you
on
can't
somebody for
spank
much
your kid.
less than
Listen,
that.
you can't
Absolutely.
discipline
Come
your
on.
kid in Walmart and not get CPS
Right.
called on you before you're in the
You're
parking
taking
lot.
your
Right.
daughter to a strip club. I think you
Yeah.
probably would get CPS
Oh, yeah.
called on you.
But,
yeah.
Hey, but here, parents, and so yeah, there's supposed to be questions asked right now of Texas. And again, DeSantis, and I can't stand it. I like Ron DeSantis, but I can't stand Texas being second in anything.
I know. It drives me nuts.
I cannot stand it, and definitely not Florida, because it wasn't that long ago. Without DeSantis, Florida,
were a joke.
Come on, Miami Beach. You want to go to Miami Beach? I mean, it's a cesspool.
Gillum only lost by like 0.2%, like
Yeah,
less than a
it was
percentage
it was
point.
So this
That's
is not
how
even
close it was.
actually. I'll do this. This
A
is not even an
Democratic
Abbott
socialist.
thing. This is an all Texas thing. All men in Texas grow a pair and start stepping up. If you know somebody is taking the kid to a drag show, come on, let's hold each other accountable in this state and actually get some value back in Texas. We can't just say, well, it's the governor's job. There's parents taking these children to these places, Sarah. You went down to, I mean, come on. I mean, we showed up at other places where we thought they would have taken them if the owner of the bar didn't say they couldn't come. So
And if there wasn't public pressure put on them, there's a show that's going on, I think it's this weekend actually, a show that's going on, a drag show, drag queen brunch, of course, that's very close to my house, about 5 minutes away from my house. And someone tipped me off to it because they're like, I think you're going to want to go to this. And by the time that I had been tipped off to it, within 30 minutes, I guess like there were some emails sent, and within 30 minutes, they had changed the website to reflect where it had previously said all ages welcome. They had changed it to now read 18 and up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, though, they sent people back very nasty emails calling them hateful and.
But their intention was to have children.
Correct,
No
but
question.
when they got some public pressure put on them, all of a sudden they quietly changed it to 18 and up. It does make you wonder, though, what they're going to do at the door if people who had previously bought tickets, bringing children, end up showing up. I don't have very much faith that they're going to turn them away.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did this happen? This didn't used to happen. This is a fairly new thing.
Pat, it happens when you serve the god of Moloch, when you serve Satan, when when you're demonized yourself and you're demonizing your children. That's when this happens.
And a society has completely lost its way. And really, we're there.
Ain't that the truth? All right. Well, on that optimistic note, you guys remember the Let's Go Brandon socks that we had at Christmas time? Everyone was like, these are the coolest socks. They're so nice. They're so soft. We want more. So we're bringing you more, okay? Backed by popular demand, we have these new limited edition socks just in time for the primaries. We've got 2 sock packages and drink covers as well. They've got all sorts of fun sock patterns you guys can see here on this full screen that we've got here. My favorite, again, I showed you guys yesterday, the Ron DeSantis one. He's riding on an alligator saying own the libs, and the little emoji is crying into a big pool of tears that says Big D energy. You can't get funnier than that, guys. You can go to blazesocks.com. If you use promo code SarahSocks, you will save not only on a Blaze TV subscription if you don't have it already, you're also going to get 20% off of these socks. When they're gone, they're gone. So make sure that you get them over at blazesocks.com. Yes. We've only got a little bit of time left here, but I want to get to this. The Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine in the United States has issued a new guide to be more gender inclusive, and the guide lists traditional terms such as breast milk and then suggests better woke alternatives like human milk, parents' milk, and of course the ever popular father's milk. So
Father's milk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever tasted father's milk?
I have not.
Oh,
No.
man.
Delicious?
Let me tell you.
Well, praise God, Pat, because if you said yes, I was going to perform an exorcism on you right here, right now. Okay. Bring those dads to me that want to share their milk, okay? We will fix them real quick. I mean, a battery, a couple clips, they'll sing like a bird.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a whole different scenario.
Are you about to tell me that you don't believe in chest feeding either?
Do you know me, woman?
Yeah, I'm just trying to make your head explode live on national television.
Chest feeding. Is that one of the suggestions?
Yeah, no,
Chest feeding
the
instead of
dads are
breastfeeding.
going to chest feed with their milk.
Sure they are.
Lactating person instead of nursing mother. And don't use the word breast. You need to use the term mammary gland because it's offensive.
Oh,
Use
yeah.
the term breast. Because some of them have cut their breasts off. so they
Right.
don't have them. They might
Okay.
feel excluded. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't have cut their breasts off.
Maybe.
And then they wouldn't feel excluded.
Maybe
so,
not. Yep.
I don't know. All I'm here to say is I'm a woman and I can breastfeed and they can't. And that's kind of
true.
That's a
like the
fact.
That's
cool
true.
thing about me.
And I'm very happy about
Absolutely.
that.
You're so
very
cool.
happy.
I'm very happy about it.